Thế bữa giờ con học trên trường có bị lag gì không con?
Không,
Cho thầy đang ở một
con học bây giờ học chính ở trên trường luôn rồi, con học online ở nhà.
quên quên con đi học lại bình thường rồi. Cho thầy đang ngồi dưới đây rồi, thường thường nó không lag mà hôm nay nó hơi lag, thầy cũng thấy là ok đến đâu rồi? Sao cái đoạn này con thấy con hiểu không?
Không,
Ok, để thầy cho con nghe lại cái khúc, cái từ nha. Jewel là trang sức nè, gave her a lot of money, clothes, jewel nè, trang sức nha. Rồi còn một cái từ dưới mà con thấy con không đọc được là gentle, nhẹ nhàng. What on earth is happening? I just want to finish my teaching. Ghê trời. Thôi rồi. Muốn mày dậy xong trời. What a thing. Để sao lát luôn cho.
con
Ok. Bữa giờ thầy thấy có một số thầy cô nó cũng có phản ánh là Zoom nó cũng đang hơi bị lag đó. À, đây một còn lát nữa là thôi. Ừ. Hello có vậy chúng ta. Thầy không hiểu luôn, mới nói hết câu chưa kịp hết câu nữa. Bữa giờ thầy cô ở bên thầy cũng có phản ánh là có kêu là cái Zoom á, cũng bị cái trục trặc đang dạy mà có bị gì á. Để bên xem sao đã nha. Thưa thầy, không biết thầy đổi mạng có đỡ không? Ok, so từ nha.
Maria is rich, said Paul. All her money, he said. She heard the news and the. Oh, yes, she was very rich, said the reporter. Maria will have all her money, of course. And her husband gave her a lot of money, clothes, jewels, and a car.
Thấy không? Juice. Nó gần như là người ta chỉ gần như là đọc chữ J E W với lại S thôi, không có chữ E L phía sau. Nghe lại nha.
And her husband gave her a lot of money, clothes, jewels.
Thấy không? Con nghe thấy không? Juice. Ok, con thử đọc lại cho thầy nghe thử.
juice,
Juice, đúng rồi. Chỉ nhớ nha, chỉ đọc từ J E W thôi, rồi thêm chữ S, hay con thấy không? Juice, nó không có đọc chữ L. Juice. Fuck. What's coming? À, bực mình thật sự luôn. Hay là con tắt zoom xong rồi con mở lại thử con. Con reset cái zoom của con thử.
Vâng.
Để thầy cho. Ok, ok. Hy vọng ok rồi. Ok. Tiếp nha.
And a car. Maria, life, is rich, said Paul, but she is also gentle and kind and... He stopped. You know Maria? The reporter asked. Yes, said Paul quietly. I know Maria. Well, said the reporter, somebody must go to her mother's funeral. We need a report about it for the paper. Why don't you go, Paul? Paul went to the funeral the next day. It was a long way to the church, but he walked. He wanted to think. Maria loved me, he thought, but she married another man. Why? Because she was afraid of her mother. But now, her mother is dead.
Này cũng dễ nè đúng không? Có một từ funeral. 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 Ok. Không có đọc là funeral nhưng mà funeral. Funeral. Đám tang. Ok. Để thầy các bạn đã xem người ta đọc này.
He wanted a mother's funeral. We need a report about it for the paper. Why don't you go, Paul? Paul went to the funeral the next day.
Funeral. Ok. Đọc lại cho thầy nha. Đọc cái đoạn này cho thầy nha.
Well, said the reporter, somebody must go to her mother. Quên rồi.
Funeral.
We need a report about it for the paper.
Ten minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. Ồ thiệt, phải bập bò đúng không cơ?
The next day is quite a long way to the không biết đọc.
He đọc it was to the church. To the church. Đọc church đúng rồi, nhà thờ. Church đúng rồi.
But he wanted to think. Maria loved me, he thought. But she married another man. Why? Because she was afraid of her mother. But now her mother is dying.
It's dead. Okay.
It was a long way to the church. Me, because she was afraid of her mother. See? And he was sad. He was at the church now. Crowds of people were there. It was a big funeral. There were many big black cars outside the church. In the first one was the coffin. There were a lot of flowers on the coffin and on the roof of the car. Paul stood at the back of the crowd. He took out his pencil and paper. He wrote about the cars and the people.
Có một từ was the coffin. The coffin là quan tài nha, cái hòm á. Was the coffin. Ok, đám ma phải có hòm. Ok, the coffin. Ok, đọc cho thầy nha. Đọc cái đầu này cho thầy.
Paul was happy and he was sad. He was at the church now. Crowd of people were there. It's what a big funeral.
Funeral, đúng rồi.
There were many big black cars outside the church. In the first one was a coffin.
Đúng rồi.
There were a lot of flowers on the coffin and on the row of the car. Paul stormed up the back of the crowd. He took out his pencil and paper. He wrote about the cars and the people.
Ok. Con không biết cái từ nào. Cái từ crowd là đám đông đó nha. Ok. He stood at the back of the crowd. Đứng sau đám đông. Ok, tiếp tục nha.
Got his pencil and paper. He wrote about the cars and the people. Then he saw Maria. She was wearing a black dress. She looked sad, but very beautiful. She was standing alone. Nobody spoke to her. Nobody went near her. The man next to Paul spoke. "That's the daughter," he said. "She's a bad woman. She left her husband and it killed her mother. Look at her. Nobody wants to speak to her." Paul said nothing. Poor Maria, he thought.
Sao con thấy đầu này cũng dễ mà đúng không?
Nhưng mà cái đoạn mà những người ở cạnh không nói chả hiểu gì cả.
Cái đoạn that's the daughter hả? Hay là sao?
Vâng.
That's the daughter. He said she is a bad woman. They left her husband and it killed her mother. Looked at her. Nobody wanted to speak to her. She is a bad woman là cái ông ở bên cạnh đang chỉ trích Maria con. Chị that's the daughter, đó là đứa con gái. Ok, cô ấy là một người đàn bà xấu. Ok, xấu xa á, ý là vậy. She left her husband là cô ấy bỏ chồng của cô ấy, và điều đó, cái việc bỏ đó, ok, kill her mother, giết chết bà mẹ. Ok, look at her. Nobody want to speak to her. Ok. Con muốn tiếp tục luôn không hay con muốn đọc?
Hồi tiếp cũng được, không hiểu.
Everybody went inside the church. The funeral began. After the funeral, Paul went home. His mother was smiling. "Good news, Paul," she said. "Do you remember your cousin Elsa? Well, she's coming to stay with us. She's 17 now and very pretty. You will like her." Yes, I remember Elsa, said Paul. He did not look pleased. His mother was disappointed.
Elsa, mình có Elsa được không? Đấy, cái đoạn này thầy nghĩ cũng dễ mà đúng không? Ok, đọc cho thầy nghe nào.
Everybody went inside the funeral began. After the funeral, Paul went home. His mother was smiling. Good news, Paul, she said. Do you remember your cousin Elsa? She is coming to stay with us. She's 17 now and very pretty. You will like her. Yes, I remember Elsa, said Paul. He did not look pleased. His mother was. Con không biết đọc được quấy.
His mother was disappointed. Disappointed. Từ nha, để nghe lại nha.
Said Paul. He did not look pleased. His mother was disappointed.
His mother was disappointed. Okay.
He's still thinking about Maria, she thought. Elsa will help him to forget. But Paul did not want to see Elsa. I must see Maria, he said to himself. I must talk to her.
Cái đoạn này đọc nhanh cho thầy.
He is still thinking about Maria, he thought. Elsa will help him to forget. But Paul did not want to see Elsa. I must see Maria, he said to himself. I must talk to her.
Part 4. Paul wanted to see Maria. He wanted to talk to her. I'll go to the house on the hill, he thought. Perhaps Maria will be there. But the house on the hill looked empty. There were no curtains at the windows. There was a big notice on the gate. It said, "For sale."
Ra đọc cho thầy. Đoạn này cũng dễ nè.
Paul wants to see Maria. He wants to talk to her. I will go to the house on the hill, he thought. Perhaps Maria will be there.
Đúng rồi.
But the house on the hill looked
Empty.
empty.
Rồi.
There were no curtains at the windows.
Rồi.
There was a big
Notice
in the gate.
Rồi.
It said, "For sale."
Ok, cứ ráng con. Thầy sẽ ráng cho đến khi nào xong cái bài này hôm nay thôi. Chấp, ok. ghi cho thầy nha. Empty là trống kiểu trống không á, nhà không có nhìn vô nhìn trống vắng á, dọn đồ đi hết rồi á. Thế trống không nó cũng có thể là một từ để diễn tả cảm xúc của tâm trạng của mình. Empty trống vắng bên trong. Ok, rồi một từ nữa là notice, nghĩa là thông báo. Cái bảng á, there was a big notice on the gate, cái bảng thông báo ở trên cửa. It said for sale. Ok, thầy qua phần tiếp theo nha.
There was a big notice on the gate. It said, "For sale." Paul looked over the gate. There was nobody in the garden. Everything was quiet. I'll get into the house and look round, he thought. Perhaps I'll find Maria's address. Then I can write to her. Paul pushed open the gate and went up the steps to the house. It was very quiet. He pushed at the front door. It was closed. He walked round the house. There was a window open.
Ok, rồi và đọc luôn. Thầy nghĩ của cái đọc này cũng đơn giản, còn cái đọc nhanh qua cho thầy.
Paul looked over the gate. There was nobody in the garden. Everything was quiet. I'll get into the house and look round, he thought. Perhaps I'll find Maria's address. Then I can write to her. Paul pushed open the gate and went up the steps to the house. It was very quiet. He pushed at the
Front door, đúng rồi.
It was closed. He walked round the house. There was a window open.
Okay.
Quickly, Paul climbed through the open window. He was excited, and his heart was beating fast. He was in Maria's old home. He remembered her mother. He remembered that terrible evening. The house was different now. There was no furniture in the room. There were no carpets and pictures. It was empty. Paul felt a little afraid. Is anybody in the house? He thought. No. He did not hear anything. Quietly. He did not hear anything.
Cái đoạn này con có hiểu không?
Có.
Ok. Thầy qua tiếp theo luôn nha.
Quietly, Paul went to the door of the room and opened it. There was nobody there. He went from room to room. All the rooms were big, and they were all empty. At last, he came to a very big room. He stopped. He knew this room. He had met Maria's mother here. He remembered everything. The old woman, her hard face, the big rings on her hands. And now the old woman was dead. Suddenly, Paul heard a noise. Somebody was inside the room. The door opened. Somebody was standing in the doorway. It was a woman.
It was a woman. Tại sao không phải là Maria đúng không? Đọc cho thầy đoạn này đi. Thầy cái đoạn này đáng đọc.
Quietly, Paul went to the door of the room and opened it. There was nobody there. He went from room to room. All the rooms were big, and they were all empty. At last, he came to a very big room. He stopped. He knew this room. He had met Maria
At.
here.
Kể tiếp.
He remembered everything: the old woman, her hot face, the big rings on her hands, and now the old woman walked out.
Suddenly,
uh,
Paul heard
Suddenly, Paul heard a noise. Somebody was inside the room. The door opened. Somebody was standing in the doorway. It was a woman.
woman.
Maria, said Paul. Paul, Maria said. What are you doing here? I was looking for you, said Paul. You were looking for me? Asked Maria. She smiled. Maria, said Paul, why did you marry that man? Mother was old, said Maria. I was unhappy here. I never went to parties, never went out. I wanted money. I wanted a good time and friends.
Đấy, bài đoạn khác.
I understand, Paul said. You were not afraid of your mother. You were tired of her. She was old, and you wanted a new life. But why did you leave your husband? My husband, said Maria. That fat old man. He was stupid, Paul. He gave me money. He gave me jewels, a car, everything. But he didn't like my friends. He liked old people. I like clever, young people, Paul. I like you. You understand, don't you? Yes, said Paul slowly. I understand now. I'm glad, said Maria. I was unhappy about you, Paul. I liked you. I liked your funny poems. My funny poems, said Paul. He stopped. You loved me, didn't you, Paul? Said Maria. You still love me? You are married, said Paul. You have a husband. But I don't love him, said Maria quickly. I want to be free. I want to go to parties and enjoy myself. Come with me. I have money now. We'll be happy together.
Đọc đoạn này con hiểu không?
Có.
Rồi con nghĩ như thế nào? Con cảm thấy như thế nào?
Kiểu cũng chả thấy cảm nào.
Thế là con thấy cái Maria nó có gì lạ không?
Kiểu muốn quay lại với Paul.
Không, nhưng mà thầy hỏi thiệt, con không có gì đúng sai đâu, con cứ nói cảm nhận của con thôi. Just give me something to finish. Đấy, con nghĩ sau khi Maria kêu funny, cái poem của Paul là funny, funny poem, I like your funny poem. Cảm thấy sao?
Nhưng chả biết sao cả. Nhưng mà
Nhưng mà
nghe kiểu như chuyện kinh dị ấy.
chuyện gì mà thầy cũng không biết, nhưng mà thầy nghĩ không phải chuyện kinh dị đâu. Vậy thôi mà nghe tiếp nha. Đấy.
No, said Paul. No, everything's over. Maria was angry. Her eyes were small and cold, and her mouth was thin and hard. Her hands were covered with big rings. Maria looked like her mother. I'm sorry, Maria, he said. I don't love you anymore. I loved you very much, but now everything is different. Goodbye, Maria. But you can't leave me, said Maria. I want you. Go back to your husband, said Paul. He looked at her for the last time. Then he turned and walked out of the room. Paul left the house on the hill and walked home. He was free. I was a fool, he thought. Maria never loved me. How stupid I was. Maria is beautiful, but she is hard and cold. She is like her mother. I loved Maria's beauty, but I never loved Maria. It was a lovely evening. Paul felt very happy. The door of the little brown house was open. His mother was at home. She was talking to a pretty girl.
Đọc cho thầy đoạn này gần xong rồi nè. Hết rồi chứ, xong gì nữa, còn một phút nữa là xong rồi. Come on, just let me finish. Hiện xong rồi nè, đọc cho thầy đoạn cuối nè.
Go back to your husband, said Paul. He looked to her the last time. Then he turned and walked to another room. Paul left the house on the hill and walked her. He was free. I was a
Kẻ ngốc, fool.
fool. He thought, Maria never loved me. How stupid I was. Maria is beautiful, but she is hard and cold. She is like her mother. I love Maria beautiful, but I never loved Maria. It was a lovely evening. Paul felt very happy. The door of Brown House was open. Her mother was at home. She was talking to a pretty girl.
Xong rồi con cảm thấy sao?
Oh, she said. This is
Xong chuyện rồi con cảm thấy như thế nào? Cảm nghĩ của con về nhân vật Paul đi. Come on. Chị em tao cảm thấy như thế nào về câu chuyện này? Trước mắt là
Cái
hay
chuyện cũng
hay
hay,
như dở, hay dở, hay nó hay dở?
hay.
Hay hả? Vì sao nó hay? Con cảm thấy vì sao nó hay? Tại sao con thích nó?
À,
Nói gì cũng được, thầy
họ
không quan
trả
tâm
lời
đúng
tại
không
sao
nào?
không thích luôn.
Thì phải có lý do sở thích chứ, đơn giản không nữa. Thầy không quan tâm đâu.
Mà thấy
Lý
hay
do
thì con
nào
thích
cũng
thôi.
hay thì con thích, nhưng mà vì sao con thích chứ, đúng không? Không phải.
Vì nó hay.
Ý thầy là thầy muốn con giống như là miêu tả cái khoảnh khắc nào mà con cảm thấy nó hay, phân tích cái cảm xúc của con đối với cái bài này. Ờ.